we've seen that we can quickly and easily adjust some of the parameters of the layer using the layer widget. But actually AI has many more controls for each of the layers. So let's have a look a bit closer at how we go about controlling them. So when I've got a clip playing, if I right click on this little layer preview here, we get a layer adjustments window pop up. So these are commonly used layer controls, as well as giving us access to the effects engines on each layer. Now I'm just going to click that and just press down on my arrow key a few times to move it out of the way. There we go. Okay, so a lot of these layer parameters are fairly self-explanatory, things like positioning, rotation, image size, but some of the others may be a little bit unfamiliar. So library, file and folder, it's another way basically of us selecting which clip is being played. So as I go through there, we're going through my banks. So my file is the tiles within the bank, and the folder button is the media bank itself there. So that can be quite useful. Now also on the layer we'll see that we get access to the full list of all the blend modes as well, and there's a lot more than the layer widget can display, so adding them will always add them onto this list here. You've obviously got your intensity for the selected layer as well, and your play mode for the selected layer, as well as a hue changer. Double clicking anywhere will reset that, and you can also boost the contrast and the saturation of the layer as well. Now I'm just going to cycle through, there we go, and find my test pattern. There we go. So if we change the hue changer on that, we can see it a little bit more easily. And then obviously our contrast and our saturation and a hue rotation there as well. Again, we've got that apply defaults button there, so if you do play around and you lose track of your parameters, it's quite easy to reset them. Okay, another useful one is the aspect mode. So sometimes when you're working with a strange screen, you'll find that your clips are cropped to the shape of that screen. But maybe in the case of a live input, you want to preserve the aspect ratio of the original live input. So your aspect mode for the layer will help you here. So if you just put it onto letterbox, on this mode, the original aspect ratio of the media will always be respected, and it will be shrunk down so that it's small enough to fit on the screen, but it will also be the largest possible proportion it can be while still fitting on the screen. We've also got two effects engines per layer, so the benefit of having them on the layer instead of on the clip, it means that you can then load any clip onto that layer and it's automatically going to be processed by those predetermined effects. So you can click in the drop down and choose an effect. For instance, if I go to kaleidoscope and put him onto auto, there we go, straight away we can see what's happening there. Let's just try another one. Let's maybe try dots, and let's put the size of the dots up. There we go. Let me just fade that layer down below that one. There we go. So again, you can see what's going on there. We've got dots. Let's just put the amount up. There we go. There we go. So nice and quick and easy there. Now, the layers actually have a lot more parameters than what we're seeing here. So there are up to 100 control channels per layer, and if you're controlling from a console, you'll get to choose what we call the personality type. So that's whether you're choosing 40, 80 or 100 channels of control. But actually you can manually control all of these parameters as well. So to get there from here, we can either press Open ArtNet Layer, or from this window here on the layer widget we can hold control and right click on the layer widget, and it will show us the ArtNet window for that layer. So what we can see, as mentioned, we've got the first 40, the second 40 and the last 20 channels of control. Now the first 40 is laid out very much like a Catalyst personality, so anyone who knows that layout will know it very well. The second 40 concentrates more on things like visual effects and timecode control, and the last 20 have got a few extra things and some of the newer functions that we've been adding. If you want a complete guide to what all of these parameters do, if you press F1, it should bring up the manual for you, and then within the manual you can see ArtNet DMX channel definitions. If you go to that document, and you'll see that it will break each channel down and show you that, for instance, here on play mode, which is channel 6, we can see that different values give us different play modes. So I'll actually tell you that value here on the right as well, and there'll be things like notes to make note of anything that's peculiar or specific to that parameter type. So you can come in and you can actually use these manual controls here on the layer as well. So if I adjust the Z rotation, there we go, we can see that image rotating nice and easily. And another trick that you can do here as well, if you're into your MIDI assigning or assigning of extra stuff to ArtNet, you can actually right click on any of these parameters. So for instance, intensity, so that's our layer intensity. If I right click on that parameter, I do get the option to either assign extra MIDI or even extra ArtNet to that parameter specifically. So it's a really good place to sort of cross-reference and cross-assign your controllers.